Welcome back to Shadows of Doubt, guys. So what I'm doing here is I want to get into the room where the murder was committed, but there's some security devices outside the flat. I'm just disabling those so that I can go in and out of this flat without anyone being too suspicious. You have to remember, in this game we're not working for the police, we're not police detectives, we're private investigators. So we have to, unfortunately, break into these crime scenes in order to do our own investigations. There's a policeman. I'm not in the room, so he's not too suspicious. But if I was to just run in the room right now, he might see me and then I'm in trouble. So what I'm going to try and do is switch the lights off. There we go. Now he can't see me. So I can just go into the room and maybe close the door behind me. Right, now I've got free roam of the location. Unfortunately, because I've switched all the lights off, outside with the breaker, I can't put any of the lights on myself in this room. So what we're doing, we're just going to have a look around. We're going to look for any clues that we can find. I want to work out first who's been murdered. So we're going to need to try and find the body, and we're going to need to try and find who lives here. So using the fingerprint scanner, which is a great tool, you should use this all the time whenever you're investigating any sort of issue. So we're finding lots of fingerprints. You can see we've got type D's appearing, type E's appearing, C. Each type represents a different person. We've got type F's appearing now as well. We've got absolutely loads of fingerprints. These storage boxes are extremely useful. They tend to include information on who lives here. Normally it's got like here employment contracts or contracts on the lease that they have for the apartment. That helps you work out who lives in the house. So now I can see that there's 2 people that live here. The optician's prescription isn't too important, but we'll keep it anyway. There's a tenancy agreement. It's just confirmation really that these people actually live here. Birth certificates. Another useful bit of information. A lot of the times people's passwords on the computers or on locks are their year of birth. So having that information available is great. More fingerprints. And we've got our first passcode now. That'll be for either a computer or a lock. Take any money we find. So what I'm seeing here is that whoever's got fingerprints E probably lives here, as the shoes that are under the bed, which are size 10, have their fingerprints on. Right, that's the lights and the electricity coming back on again. Nothing of importance in here, except for a fingerprint, type F. So type F is probably somebody else that lives in the house. Look everywhere, you never know what you'll find. And here we have a computer. Another passcode, probably the other person's login. Let's get the computer on. So what the computer will let us do is confirm the identity of the different people in the house. It should show you a profile picture. Now we know what one of them looks like. Yasin Byers. Not sure why his glasses are half off his face. If you look at their emails, you can sometimes find them having arguments with different people, which might give you a clue as to who had a motive to murder them. Here this person is apologising to someone called Chow Yang, and there's an option here to print this email, which I believe I do. Sometimes it doesn't print first time, you've got to do it a couple. Not sure why it will print that, but not the I'm sorry. I try logging in as the other person now. Cipriana. Nothing much, she's just requesting a lunch date with someone. Rest of it's spam mostly, so not a lot of excitement going on in this person's emails. So at the moment, Chow Yang is my, I guess, first suspect, or possibly the person that lives here, Cipriana. So I'm just going to keep investigating the house. Here we can see bloodstains on the floor. Now the fingerprint scanner can also be used to investigate blood prints or footprints. So here we're seeing we've got different size shoes in the area. We've got a size 12 shoe print appearing. So we'll pin that to our board. There's a size 7, I believe, as well, isn't there? Mostly size 12. So these footprints could be a number of things. They could be the killer. They could be someone who found the body. Or they could be a policeman. The police walk into the crime scene as well. They're the first ones on scene. So sometimes it's a good idea if you're finding a boot print and you don't know if it's the killer or somebody else's. Double check whoever the policeman is that's outside the house. Double check their foot size. It might well be them. And here's the body, all crumpled in the corner. Poor guy. Have a look at his fingerprints. So what that's told me is that one of the types that I've been finding around the house actually belongs to him. So he was poisoned. And it gives me a time of death between 6:30 and 7:45 on Monday. That's important if we have to look at CCTV footage. So yeah, search the body, investigate the body, scan the body. Now it says here he's got size 13, I think that was, shoes. So his footprints don't match any that we've seen so far. So the footprints on the floor belong to other people, they don't belong to him. Again, it could be someone who found the body, it could be the murderer, or it could be the police constable that entered the room when this was first reported. I don't know why I'm opening the toilet seat. So what we need to do again is look for more fingerprints, just in case we're missing some. And what I'll need to do is identify who the other fingerprints belong to. We're finding quite a lot in this house. One of the other set of fingerprints I would imagine are probably the other owner of the property, the other resident. Skipping ahead a teeny tiny bit, guys, I find footprints leading all the way out into the hallway. They turn out to be of the policeman. So the size 12 boots that I've been seeing actually belong to a policeman that's been walking around the area. I knock on a neighbour's door just to ask a few questions, maybe find out who lives next door. You never know. It could be them. Some people really don't want to interact with you at all. Not everyone is polite, civil, and does what you say. Someone like this, they just don't want to give me any evidence at all. That doesn't mean they're guilty in any way. Some people are more private than others. But what I am doing here is now asking them who are these people. So I'm expecting them to say, this person is my neighbour, which is what they are saying. But it seems they've seen nothing suspicious. You can talk to the policeman as well, ask him anything you want. I haven't found that they give me much information recently, though. So we need to broaden our investigation a little bit now, so we know who's been murdered. We've got some fingerprints around the house that we've collected. One of them will probably belong to the killer. We've got some footprints, and we know where the victim works. Now, what I've found in the past is that the murderer does tend to know the victim. So I'm expecting that maybe the murderer is either the person that lives with the victim, or maybe someone from his workplace. Now, if you remember, there was an email where he seemed to be having arguments with someone called Chen, I believe it was. Maybe that will lead to something later on. So skipping ahead a little bit, Sherlock Homie is trying to get in contact with management. I wanted to see if I can have a look at the security cameras. I know roughly what the time of the death was, so let's see if we can find a camera recording of who was there. Now, in these offices, you also have a list of residents that live in the building. It's actually very useful to have a look through all of the... I'm not doing it here, but if you have a look at all the records, it actually builds up a database in the background, so in future, if there's another crime committed, you should recognize that person, either the victim or a picture of the murderer, because you've actually been through all of these records and seen a residential record for that person. So it's almost like our PI has a photographic memory. If he's ever seen someone's picture and information before, he's got it recorded in his database and he remembers. I'll take that key just in case I have to come back here again. Some extra lockpicks, always good. I'm a little bit of a thief. But yeah, let's get to using the computer, see what we can find. So we're logged in as this guy. I don't know why I'm checking his email. There isn't going to be much there, I would imagine. We're just looking up the murder victim, see what information they've got on him. They're not really giving me too much that I don't already know, but let's save it away anyway. So security allows you to turn off cameras in the vicinity. Surveillance is a history. This is where you want to look for the suspect. So we know the murder took place on the 6th floor. And it happened the day before, so that's Monday. That is a different camera. This is the camera for the house in question. And as we can see, it's 6:35, which is around about the time the murder took place. There was a person. That looks like Cipriana. Now, as a reminder, Cipriana actually lives in that apartment, so maybe it's to be expected that the surveillance camera would see her. Now, the surveillance cameras aren't foolproof. They don't always record the suspect. maybe the suspect turned the cameras off in the same way that I did when I was entering the room. So don't fully rely on the surveillance cameras. Okay, don't immediately jump to conclusions because of them. However, Cipriana is there at pretty much the exact time that they say the murder was committed. So she definitely goes to the top of the suspect list at the moment. There's no sign of anybody else on any other cameras on that floor. So we've still got some work to do. Another wee skip ahead, guys. So what I've done is headed out of the scene of the crime. I've been told to pick up a case file which will allow me to resolve the case when I'm ready. It was just complaining in the corner that I needed to do this, so I headed out, went to the main police building, I guess, and picked up the file. So I'm not really ready to fill out much of the evidence, but it kept complaining to me, so I went and collected it anyway. The arrow is pointing towards the workplace of Cipriana, so I'm really interested in talking to Cipriana being the other resident of that building. And she works in a metal yard, apparently. So I'm coming here to try and find out if she's actually there. Maybe she's working. She works as a janitor, so there's a possibility that even late at night she's around. I knock on the door, someone's asking, who is it? Let's have a chat. What's your name? My name's Emma Johnson. He doesn't really look like an Emma, does he? But anyway, do you know Cipriana? Yes, I work with them. They work at Metal Industrial, which is where we are. I saw they're somewhere around Jacques Terrace. Now, what he didn't say was that she's right here, right now. So I'm starting to believe that maybe she's not currently at work. This person looked similar, so I'm just double checking who they are. Do you know this person? And again, this person is saying not that they're here, they're saying Cipriana was seen nearby. So I don't think she's actually at work at the moment. We're going to need to try and find her. So the last person I spoke to mentioned the name of the street. It was this Reynolds. That's where she was last seen. So let's head in that direction. We found her. She was in the area where that last person said she might be. I asked her if she's seen anything suspicious. She said she saw someone with short brown hair. That's important. And she saw them around about the time of the murder, at the location of the murder. They looked mad. She's not giving us any other information. She's not even going to give us fingerprints, I believe. So skipping ahead another little bit, guys. I didn't know what to do, so I went back and got some handcuffs from the police department, and I've decided to kind of put this lady under arrest, Cipriana. I'm not 100% sure if she committed the crime or not. All I'm interested in is getting her fingerprints, plus finding if she's got anything on her. So the easiest way for me to do that is to handcuff her, which isn't the nicest thing in the world to do, I guess, which would allow me to search her and also check her fingerprints. So she's got a hammer on her, but that's not much evidence. The victim wasn't killed with a hammer, he was poisoned. I'm taking her house key, just cause. But we've got her wallet now, which is great. Here's her work ID, not too much use to me, but we'll save it away anyway. So she didn't have too much on her. Now she's giving me the fingerprints. Now that I've tied her up, she's basically... she knows that she has to give me the fingerprints. And again, she's telling me that she saw someone with brown hair. So I'm not convinced now that Cipriana is the main suspect. She didn't have anything on her that indicated that she was poisoning anybody. She keeps talking about seeing someone with brown hair. Now, I realise on the security cameras we never saw anyone with brown hair, but again, the security camera can't be relied upon. Maybe the suspect, you know, turned the cameras off. So I'm just making a note here that she has said they had short brown hair, the person that she saw who was angry. Make little notes. Not everything gets logged as evidence, so if you need to try and remember this stuff, make a note about it. And again, that person with brown hair was spotted at 6:45, she's saying. Have fun with it. You know, create as much evidence as you want. Write these little notes to help remind you of what's going on. I love it. It's really good fun. It makes you feel like a real detective at times. Anyway, I don't think there's much more information I can get off of this lady. So I'm going to leave her in handcuffs, but she'll get out of it eventually. Thanks to the fact that I was able to get the fingerprints from her, I've been able to work out now that there's only 2 sets of fingerprints left that can't be accounted for. So now when I'm looking for suspects in the future, I'm going to try and match them up to the remaining fingerprints that we have. This is 10 minutes later, guys. I went back to the scene of the crime and I'm back at the security office to have a look through the CCTV. Now what I'm doing is looking at the floor above and floor below the murder scene. I'm investigating each person found on the camera around about the time of the murder, and what I'm doing is looking at their profiles to identify if they have short brown hair. So if we look at this person, for example, that said long black hair, so that's not who I'm looking for. We're just going through the cameras, trying to pick up if anything on a different floor pops up. So we've got somebody here. They look like they've got brown hair, but it's long brown hair. So that's not the correct person. Just looking through all the different people. These appear to be either blonde or red-headed. So I don't think that works. We've now got this person. And we can see short brown hair. This person has got short brown hair. So let's pin them. Put them on our board. We don't know very much about them, just a face. But let's keep having a look through the camera system. So that button I clicked on, the flag button, what that will do is make any camera that I go to, the timeline will appear red if that person is spotted. So here you can see there's no red at the bottom of the screen other than on that one point where we saw the guy's photo. So that person doesn't appear at any other time on the camera system is what that's saying. So there's quite a few people around about the time of the murder. This person's got short hair, but is it short brown? It's actually long brown hair. Okay, it didn't look that way. We've got someone new here. Someone I haven't seen before who has short brown hair. So we've got another possible suspect. So yeah, again, we're looking at a different floor here. The murder happened on floor 6, but here we're looking at floor 5. You can do the exact same thing on any of the other floors all the way down to ground level. Your suspect could appear on any of the cameras. Maybe he was clever enough to turn off floor number 6, but he might not have been clever enough to know to hide himself from the other cameras. So my two suspects, I'm going to try and take a picture of them if I can from the security machine. We're back to the scene of the crime. What I want to do is ask around, see if anyone has seen these people before. Maybe they can identify who any of them are. So I've got two guys here. So this guy was seen on the 3rd floor landing at 5:30 a.m. Do you know this person? I saw them at the 6th floor at 5:15 a.m. I saw them on the ground floor a day ago, basically. But it was around the time of the murder, right enough. 7:15. So I really need to try and identify these two guys. I'm not sure whether they live in the building or what. So anyone I see, I'm talking to them to try and find out if they know who any of these guys are. I'm always asking them if they'll give me fingerprints because it might help with future investigations as well. This guy was seen in a different area at 9 p.m. I think I forgot to ask him about the other suspect. I think at the moment I'm concentrating on the guy with the curly hair. Let's try and find more people to talk to. Here's someone. This guy looks familiar. I think we've found our short-haired, curly, brown guy. I've got his name now. He's told me his name. I'm going to ask him if he knows the victim. He says he did see him around the time of the murder. He's not saying he works with him. He's not saying that he's his neighbour. He's just saying I've seen him before. And the same with Cipriana. This guy doesn't seem to know them. He just seems to have seen them recently, around about the time of the murder. And he gives me his fingerprints. Fantastic. I didn't have to arrest him or anything. He just outright gave them to me. That's very handy. I've asked him about the other suspect as well. He doesn't know that guy either, although he has seen him somewhere else. So what we need to do is have a look at our fingerprints. So we've got this guy's fingerprints now. Do they match any at the crime scene? So here I've got two types that I don't know about. Okay, let me just explain here. It's still showing type C and type D prints. It's not saying that any of those belong to this guy we've just scanned. So, because these fingerprints are still unknown even now, it doesn't seem like that guy we've just spoken to, that suspect too, this one, it doesn't look like he was in that murder scene. His fingerprints aren't appearing anywhere in the house. So, this might just be someone that I've found on the surveillance camera. This might be a complete innocent guy who lives in the building, perhaps. There's no indication that he's been in that murder scene, so I'm kind of ruling him out now. It's about time we concentrated on this other suspect. I think what I was trying to do here was search him, but I couldn't catch him. So we're back outside, we're asking around. I'm trying to find out if anyone knows who my other suspect is. The man with the glasses. I've seen him around. Warren Deluxe. I think quite a few people mentioned Warren Deluxe, so I go looking it up in the evidence section, and it shows here that Warren Deluxe is a set of apartments. So I'm going to head over there. Maybe I can find people that know this guy. My evidence is very flimsy so far. I don't actually know who this person is, other than what their picture looks like. Anyone that kind of looks like this guy I'm talking to. Again, do you know this guy? The one with the glasses. Yep, he's seen him recently on Onchi Street. Headed east. Let's try and find Onchi Street. So I head into this Warren Drive place and I start asking around to see if anyone knows who my suspect is. No one wants to talk to me until I get to this policeman. And he says that he knows the guy, and the guy's name is Brian DeWitt. That he loves books, and that he's been seen around here recently. So I now have a name to a face, which is very, very useful information. So after asking around the building a little bit, more and more people keep telling me that they've seen this guy walking around Onchi Street. And here I find Brian DeWitt eventually. Here's my suspect. He's not telling me his name. He's not saying that he's seen anything suspicious. Do you know this person? He has seen Cipriana at around about the time of the murder, it says there. So here I make a little mistake. I forget to ask him if he knows the victim. I should have said, do you know the guy who died? And I didn't. So after speaking to Brian, I'm really no further ahead. I don't have any more information than I did before. What I think I wanted to do here was get some handcuffs. I wanted to basically arrest this guy so I could get a copy of his fingerprints. I think that's what I was doing. So I've used my handcuffs previously on Cipriana, so I don't have any more. This is where you buy handcuffs from. Let's see if we can find Brian again. Long story short, guys, I couldn't find him. I ran around for 15 minutes looking for him and could not find him. So this is a little tip for you. If you go to the main police station and there's a door with a side door just near the front entrance, if you go in there, what you'll find is a computer. And the passcode is actually behind it on the wall. So if you read that, you'll find a passcode. What this computer has is records on every individual in the city. So as you can see, there's a Gov database. And if I put the guy's name in, if I could remember what it was. For some reason, there's always FF written at the beginning. I don't know why. Brian. Which I can't spell. Brian DeWitt. Print. And it doesn't always work first time. Sometimes you have to go back into it and hit print again. Finally it printed. So this is giving us his address on the second page. "1502 Warren Deluxe." So that explains why people have been seeing him in that area. It's where he lives. So what we need to do is visit 1502 Warren Deluxe and see what we can find in his apartment. So I get to the apartment, guys. I've switched off the lights and I'm lockpicking his door. But I make big mistakes here. I forgot to check if he was home or not. He is. And I'm stuck in his house. The door is locked behind me. I'm hoping if I stay quiet, maybe he'll go to bed. Please go to bed. Nope, he comes out and he sees me. He turns the light on. There I am. So I run out of the building, try to break line of sight. Got my handcuffs ready in case I can handcuff him. To handcuff them, you have to be behind them. The eye's turning white, so he's lost sight of me, which is great. And stopped. I run back up to the correct floor. The door's still open. I have no clue where he is. I turn the lights off so that he can't see me if he does come back in. I'm not playing the game very well here. This isn't really what I should be doing. But I'm just trying to get fingerprints. You know, hopefully some of these will match our crime scene. I've got his work rota. He's come back in. He has come back in, so I'm hiding. He's using the toilet or something. I'm kind of hoping I can like sneak up on him and handcuff him. Oh, no, seen me. And he's locked the door, so I'm stuck in the house. I'm completely stuck. Nowhere to go. I'm going to have to fight. He's looking for me. He's found me. He's got his hands out. He's trying to punch me. Lucky he doesn't have a gun. I'm trying to break line of sight, but no, the guy's too close to me. I try to lockpick, but the guy's behind me hitting me. He's now broken my leg, which means I can't run fast, so I've got to fight him. So hands out and start throwing punches. This is when I also realise it's not my suspect, it must be his partner. Someone... Landau? Is that the name? Ladown Byers. It's not even the person that I'm suspecting. It must be their partner. So I've just assaulted someone in their house randomly. I'm not a good guy. That's not great. Not great at all. So they're unconscious on the floor. They're not dead. I didn't use a gun or anything. It's we just punched them. They'll be out for a little while. So I start searching the house looking for more information on who Brian is. So I find something interesting. Stupidly, I forgot to check where our victim worked, and it turns out that Brian, my suspect, is the victim's boss. They work in the same company. So they actually have a relationship, which means, although I don't have a motive, I don't see why Brian had any reason to kill my victim, at least there's now a relationship between them. So why was this guy spotted in my victim's building at the time of the murder on the security camera? Why was he there? What reason did he have to be there? Well, now I know why he might be there. He might be there because he has a relationship to the victim. As I'm sorting through my evidence, I then realise that the body, the unconscious person, is missing. They've woken up. And now I've got the sound of alarms going off. Whoever it is has run out of the apartment and turned all the alarms back on, all the security devices. I kind of need to get out of here. So the door's locked. I found a key though, so I unlock it, but I'm stuck. You see how there was a security door down? Oh, I'm getting shot. The security system's got a gun. If it sees me, it's going to shoot me. I'm now bleeding. I've now got another broken leg. I'm not in a good place. I need to wait for the security device to calm down. But so I turn the light off, simply so that the main camera can't see me if I ever need to get out there. After a set amount of time, everything goes back to normal, although the guy I beat up has seen me again, so he's chasing me, and I've got a broken leg, so I've got to try and get away as quick as I can and manage it. And I've got to go and get healed up, basically. So what do I know so far? I now know that Brian has fingerprints that exist at the crime scene. The fingerprints I found in the apartment we were just in match fingerprints that were found at the crime scene. So Brian was in that building at the time of the murder. He's on security camera being in the area. And they have a relationship. They work together, which means maybe, you know, they had an argument, I don't know, and there might be a reason why they would want to kill each other. So welcome, guys, to Cost-Effective Solutions. This is the office building that our victim and suspect work from. It's the middle of the day, and because of that, you can stroll into the offices. If it was night time, I wouldn't be able to get this far. In that room is our suspect, Brian. I don't think I know his password. Oh, it turns out I do. I go in, but he's there. Why are you in my room? Let's talk to him again. Or shut the door on him. I can't go in any of these rooms or the security cameras will go off. Do you know the victim? Which is what I should have asked him right at the beginning. Yes, I work with him at Cost-Effective Solutions. I saw them somewhere around Jacques Terrace, which is the location of the murder. Can you give me the fingerprints? No. I go searching around the offices after turning off the security devices, and I find the desk of our victim. I go back into his emails. I know we've looked through some of these before, but I just wanted to have a look through the guy's work emails and see what else we could find. Maybe there's evidence that I'm missing. Can you come to head office? Not too much there. Bit of spam. Another bit of spam. Here's the I'm sorry message from Chow. Sorry, to Chow from our victim. And he mentions his life. Do you see that? I'm begging you, Chow. This job is all that I have. It's my life. So there's some emotions going on. Let's save that away. I'm not saying Chow's the suspect. Maybe he's just a colleague. Maybe it's a work-related email more than anything. There's another I'm sorry if you look there, but this time it's to Brian. So the first one was to Chow. This one is to Brian. So we might here have our motive. It looks like Brian and our victim were having issues in the workplace. I kind of decide I've spent enough time on this investigation. Brian is definitely my main suspect, and I've got evidence to get him. So I'm going to try and handcuff him if possible. I knock on his door, I get the handcuffs out. I think I just kind of wait for him to turn around. There we go, and I handcuff him. He's not a happy bunny. Now that I've handcuffed him, I can search what's on him. He's got a work ID. Fair enough. He's got a prop gun. A lot of people in this game seem to have prop guns. Again, our victim wasn't shot, he was poisoned. He's got a wallet. I'm going to take his keys and his money. Why not? And he's also got, what's that? Poison? Poison? What's he doing with poison? I think we've got our murder weapon. This boy, I think, is definitely our guy. So what I now do is go to resolve the case. So, what's the name of my suspect? Well, I believe it's Brian. Let's find his picture. There we go. It's Brian DeWitt. Now, it says, have you arrested him? And I have. So I go over to him. I don't know why it's not ticked. It should have been ticked. So I go over to Brian to see if there's some way that I can get this thing to update and show that I've arrested him. But it's not doing a lot, so I'm playing around with all the buttons, trying to get that tick box to appear. I fill out the rest. What evidence do you have that he was at the scene? I think I'm looking for the fingerprints, yeah. So I've got fingerprints at the scene. Where does the killer live? The killer lives there. Have you located the murder weapon? Well, I have. It was poison. The only one unticked is arrest the killer, which I've done. He's under arrest. I've handcuffed him. So I start clicking buttons like crazy. And then I click the handcuffs by mistake, and I let him go, and he pulls out a gun and starts shooting at me. Oops. So I run, try and get out of sight. He's up there, he can't see me, I've lost him. Which is great, but oh god, what a screw up. Lucky enough I took the handcuffs off him, so I've still got them. So I run back up, there he is. Looking in the other direction, his back's to me, so I run up and handcuff him again. And because I've rearrested him, it's now ticked. So I can plan a route back to the police station. The guy's handcuffed, so he's arrested. Head back to the police station and hand it in. Back in the police station, we hand the case in. Case submitted. Please wait. And that's basically job done. I'm pretty certain we've got the right guy. We found poison on him. He had a relationship to the victim. He was spotted at the scene. It failed me on one piece of evidence there. I think the fingerprints weren't enough. I needed to show more. Maybe the photograph of him being there at the time would have been better. But yeah, it still gave me a good chunk of money. It gave me good credibility, and that was my first murder. Sherlock Homie's first murder complete. Successfully solved. Good stuff. Another bad guy off the street. There we are. Close the case. Well done, Sherlock Homie. See you next time.